So right-wingers have advice apparently for the poor, and oh boy, and for people that they generally don't agree with and are in situations they're not happy about. We're going to get to O'Reilly in a second, but first we start with Republican candidate in Minnesota, Sheila Kine. Now, she wrote some controversial things on a website in 2009. She's now desperately taking off so that people don't realize how radical she is. At the time, she had written in a blog that she discontinued in 2009. She wrote that President Barack Obama was leading the one world order communists. Well, of course he has, right? So it's standard fare now for Republicans running across the country. It's okay that one party in mass are lunatics, right? If you had said that George W. Bush was going to combine us with other countries who are all part of a fascist scheme that they came up with at Bilderberg, and a Democratic candidate ran on that, they'd be tarred and feathered and run out of town. So now at least she's sufficiently embarrassed that she took it off her website. But here's the interesting part. She also had advice on that website for women who got pregnant outside of marriage. She said, "Don't you think that if you're having a baby and you're not married, that you should forego the shower? I also think that if you get married and are knocked up, you should get married quietly at a courthouse, at a private home." So two parts of that. Number one, how dare you have a baby shower and celebrate your baby if it's a bastard, illegitimate, out of marriage? What's wrong with you? You should have shame. Second of all, it's publicly having a wedding. How dare you? No, private. We should put a scarlet letter or something on your forehead. I can't believe you were out there celebrating your life, celebrating your baby. Ugh. Kine specifically, according to Raw Story, said that there should be no dancing or dinner for prospective brides who are pregnant. She acknowledged that I'm seen as very cold-hearted with this issue and has caused a couple of big arguments in my family, but insisted on standing her ground against the idiots in Hollywood who make it look cool to tote a baby around sans daddy. Well, I'm glad at least the rest of her family acknowledges she's an idiot too. Okay, so I love the part where you're not even allowed to have dinner if you're pregnant at your wedding. No, not drinks, dinner. Should they have bread and water until the pregnancy is over? Okay, now, you're not going to outdo Bill O'Reilly in this case. Now he's going to turn to poor people, and he's going to give them advice. Now, keep in mind as you're hearing this unbelievable advice, that according to reports, Bill O'Reilly makes $20 million a year. Watch.
It is estimated there are now 48 million Americans in low-paying jobs. Salaries for American workers under President Obama have gone down. Money is tight everywhere. A recent Harris poll says 46% of Americans who are not retired say they live paycheck to paycheck. 46%. Now, every one of those people and their families are in grave danger. You should have at least $25,000 that you can access if you get fired or if a disaster hits you or your family. $25K. So, how do you do that? First of all, never waste money, ever. That trinket, you don't need it. Then, take a look at your life. See what your vices are. See what you overdo and cut back. Then, go to websites like Groupon, get discounts on stuff that you have to buy. Never pay full price. Also, every time you have loose change in your pocket, put it in a big jar. That'll add up fast. Pay your cable bill someday. But most important is what my father drummed into my head. Out of every dollar you make, save 10 cents. No excuses.
Are you effing kidding me? Trinkets? Loose change. You know what could actually get you some money? If we, for example, increase the minimum wage. And that way, when you're working, and you're working really hard, you can actually make a couple of more dollars so that you can put food on the table for your family. Or you could save up the 10% that Bill O'Reilly's talking about. But Bill O'Reilly hates that idea. He wants to give corporations tax breaks, the richest people in America, which includes him, tax breaks. He wants to increase things like sales tax to make up for it. Who pays the sales tax disproportionately? You do. There goes your loose change, right? So all the policies that would help you, no, we're not going to give you any of that. How about if your kids want to go to school, some help from the government in funding that? Oh, no. I'm not going to give you any opportunity. I'm not going to give you any of that. I'm going to tell you don't buy the trinkets. And get rid of your vices. And how out of touch is this guy? Keep $25,000 around. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Check. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think to keep $25,000 around? I mean, he's telling this to people who live in hollers in Kentucky and West Virginia. We're thinking, oh gosh, I knew I was doing the wrong thing with that $25,000. I wish I hadn't bought that $25,000 trinket. But you know, for him, that is loose change. That is pocket change for him. So he thinks like, what's the big deal? Put that away and then do whatever you want with the rest. Unbelievably out of touch. Look, there's nothing wrong with telling people to be frugal and to put aside 10% if you think that's helpful. I think it's fairly obvious, right? But okay, that's fine. But when you're this grossly out of touch and you're against policy proposals that would actually help those families save money, keep money, and you're fundamentally opposed to any of those, then it's an absolute caricature. It's ridiculous. You look just as absurd as you possibly could.